on Yaakov. So Yaakov says, what did you do to me? So what did Lavan say back? What's the famous line? Lo yasakim b'mkamenya. We don't do this in our place. Lo said B&G. Right. So he said, we don't do this in our place, that we give the younger group for the older one. So it sounds like Pashup Shat, it just belongs in Charan, Torah. Anybody know another place where people got married based on age? Any clue where that comes up? Oh, very good. Gemara and Bava Basra, Daf Kuf Chaf, B'nai Slavchad. So we know that there's a question, but they have a time that they want a chelik. That's one time their names are mentioned. And they're also mentioned somewhere else when they end up getting married. When they get married, it says a different order. So one pshat is that Chazal say the reason why the Torah gives different orders is because says the Rashbam, we assume they got married in the order of their age. So when it says in the pasuk, Vatiena, Machla, Noya, Chagla, Milka, V'Tirtz, whatever the order is, it says they got married Lebnei Dein Lenoshim. They got married to their cousins. So the reason why it says in that, and the Gemara says when they talk about coming to Moshe Rabbeinu wanting a chelik in Eretz Yisrael, where it's more about Achmo, came first, so it has a different order. But Al Kaponim, but the Gemara and Bava Basra is saying, according to the Rashbam, is that when they got married, it says it in the order of how they got married, which was from oldest to youngest, because, says the Rashbam, you're not supposed to get married a younger one before the older one. So we see from here that what Lavan said, what seemed to be a minhag in Charan, B'nai Slavcha, which is after Matan Torah, B'nai Slavcha, this is how they were noig. They got married in the order of their ages, and it sounds like this is something that we should do. Okay, it sounds like the right thing to do. First of all, why would we learn from Lavan? Lavan's not a good guy. Mike, you're asking us a little bit, like Lavan's a trickster also. Why would we learn from Lavan?
More than that, Yaakov didn't like it.
Oh, and Yaakov seemed to argue. Okay? Yaakov seems to argue. Yaakov really wanted Rachel. Yaakov doesn't know this halacha. So one of the answers given is a Pella. And I don't understand this 100%, but it comes up in a Rashi. This is from the Chidah, but it's also based on the Rashi. Who was really older, Yaakov or Esav? So the way it works is, the Rashi says, from a Chazal, that the first drop for the baby, whatever it is going on, that goes first into a tube. And then the second drop that creates the baby goes into the next tube. When they come out, the one that went in second comes out first. So Yaakov was conceived before Esav. But their Leda, Esav came first. When you put two things into a tube, only one could come out at a time. Yaakov was really conceived before Esav. Okay? And that's why Yaakov held on to the heel of Esav, because he wanted to beat him to the Leda. But Yaakov, in a way, is the Bachar. I don't know how this applies, because really... I know. It's hard to understand it, but this is what Chidah says. In a way, Yaakov was somewhat a Bachar, and they say also that Rachel and Leah were twins. And Leah just came out first by the Leda, but really Rachel was conceived first. So in a way, Yaakov and Rachel were identical in terms of their Bechira status. They were both conceived first, but the next Leah and Esav were conceived next. Esav and Leah come out, and then Yaakov and Rachel come out. So Yaakov felt it actually fits him and Rachel very nice. But anyways, it's a very good question. There are other Mefarshim that talk about it, but Al Kapanim, we're assuming Yaakov agreed to Lavan that he held to this idea. He held to it.
Yeah, if they're twins, the whole shot might not be so sharp.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying, is there also dinner before and after when there's a 1 minute difference or 3 minute difference? So this whole call of waiting for your sibling, I don't think twins wait for each other.
Right, so you want to know, even if twins itself, maybe I beat you by 1 second, so it's a covenant. I shouldn't be. So Shmuel David is saying the fact they were born so close as twins, maybe that itself, you don't really beat me. By twins, do we say who's older? Be machabed them? Really beat them pretty much the same. What? Porshkin. Oh, very good. That's really the lumdish sarm over here. Okay.
What would he hold by IVF?
They talk, by the way, IVF comes in by Dina also and Yosef, they discussed this shayla because they switched. Yeah, a lot of the places can bring it up in this parsha, but we're not. That's another whole topic. The dentists want to, Okay, so Al Kapanim, the Gemara in Bava Basra says this is something that Bnei Slavcha did. It sounds like it's a real thing in halacha. It's a real thing in halacha. Listen to this tesis in Kedushin. It is not a typical tesis. I'm telling you, you're not going to come across such a tesis in a long time. Tesis brings down a Maisa, which is strange, and a whole halacha about it, a whole halachic discussion. Here's a story. Okay, a story in Taisus. Kedushin Nambez. A story came to Rabbeinu Tam. Okay, what happened? The son of a guy, Reb Oishia Halevi, so a son of Reb Oishia Halevi, went ahead and was Mekadesh. He did Kedushin with the daughter of a very wealthy man. So you have the son of Reb Oishia, and Reb Oishia is, and he went, this son, and was Mekadesh, the daughter of a wealthy man, and all he said was, your daughter is Mekudesh to me. He didn't say which daughter, a guy had a bunch of daughters. He said, your daughter is Mekudesh to me, without specifying the name. And they brought to Rabbeinu Tam, he's claiming that he married, let's say, Leah, and nobody knows. Maybe he's just saying it later, and really he was never Mekadesh, that girl. How do we know there's a real Kedushin that you're able to, live with her for the rest of your life? Because the whole sugya in the Gemara here is about a Kedushin that's not Nimsu Labiyah. Sometimes you could do a Kedushin and no one knows exactly who you're Mekadesh, so you have to give a get. It's Machlokes Abayin Rava. I'm not getting into the whole sugya right now. But sometimes you could do a Kedushin and you don't really know who you're married to. So over here, Rabbeinu Tam said, they're Mekudesh. Why? He says, first of all, if initially they were going out, so we could assume the one he was going out with and they were Meshadach, that's probably the one he meant. So first of all, maybe they were like, there was a Shidduch before, so we assume, even though he was Mekadesh Stam and didn't specify, the one he felt and the one he went out with, that's probably the one he meant. But he says, even if he didn't go out with the girl and they weren't really Meshadach anything, Pashtus is the older one. If he was Mekadesh, one of the daughters, Stam, then he's married to the older one. Why? Because we have a rule that Lo Yasachem Bim Kaminu Lo Sesatzil Fnei Abechira. Taisus, Rabbeinu Tam, it's paskening. Guy went over to a family with a bunch of girls, says, I'm married to one of your daughters. I'm Mekadesh one of your daughters. Which daughter? Says Rabbeinu Tam, if they had a shidduch before, then it's that one. But if they didn't, it's the older one. Because older get married before younger one, defined by Lavan. Rabbeinu Tam. Comes along someone named Reb Menachem from Uni, I don't know who that is, and Reb Menachem from Uni, another Baal Teisa says, no way. We're going to say, it's a little bit more lumdish, but he says, this is a real serious thing of an Eishes Ish to determine that you're able to live with this girl and the other ones don't need a get. He says, no way. Is that enough to show us that you're Mekudesh to that girl? And he argues with Rabbeinu Tam. And Rabbeinu Tam was Chayzer from the Psak. Rabbeinu Tam, after Rabbeinu Tam, he was not passing Allah L'maisa. He was Chayzer in his Psak. So, but Nachamol, Tesis says, what happened was a guy was Mekadesh a girl from a whole family, and let's say they did not go on the shidduch date before, to pass in such a shaila based on this concept, it doesn't make any sense. It's not enough. And Rabbeinu Tam was taka chayzer from his psak. So we see from Tesis, even if you don't go Allah L'maisa in this very interesting case, it's still a concept. It's still a concept that the older one, still a Jewish concept, and the Taz holds Me'ikra Adin, a younger sibling should not get married before an older sibling. And the Bach breaks it down like boys, a younger sibling boy should not get married before an older sibling boy, based on Tesis, based on the Rashbam in Bava Basra with Bnei Slavchad. This is a Yiddish concept, and sibling, boy to girl, we're going to talk about it in 1 second. Very good. They don't talk about that right now. Boy or girl. Comes along the Marsh, and he said she's going out with a girl, they got engaged, and Bas Tamach Chacham, the guy's a Tamach Chacham, he was an usher, he was wealthy, it's part of the tshuva, and I'm not going to get such a... Plus, it's a Tamach Chacham usher, shidduch might not come around again. And maybe even nowadays, I don't know. And your older daughter is 26, he says, you could be Meko. So if we see from the Marsham is older, what the shidduch is, and therefore he felt you could go ahead with the shidduch. Chassam Sofer had a story. Chassam Sofer had a daughter named Chani Yitol, or Yatel, I don't know. He had a daughter, and there was a shidduch for her, and he said that even though he holds, there's only like a chumrah on the derech eretz, still looking for a shidduch for his son, Shimon Sofer, and he said, I don't want my daughter to get married before Reb Shimon, and he didn't. I don't think, he made sure they did not get married, even though the shidduch came in first, and she was ready to go, we're going to wait for Reb Shimon to get married. Chassam Sofer. But you also see from the Chassam Sofer, it's a chumrah, it's a derech eretz thing, it's something he wanted to do, but again, in other extenuating circumstances, you would be allowed to bypass it.
You also see that it's a boy-girl.
And you see it's a boy-girl, correct, right. There's already showing the boy-girl. Very good. Fine. Is it...
Not for her account.
I guess so, yeah.
Do the children have to give permission to the father on
So we're going to get to Ramesha. You have to hear his tshuva. Ramesha is an amazing tshuva. So much to learn from his tshuva. We're going to get to in a second. He discussed a little bit the father and the kid. So one more second on that. I have no clue. Could be.
8-6 months.
There's a question: is it dafka the shidduch, or is it more the wedding? Which is the issue? 'Cause let's say you want to get engaged before your sibling. Is that a problem, or it's only about the actual marriage? Right? Sometimes the shidduch is going. Oh, they're both dating, and you want to get engaged first. Which one's the issue? The shidduch or the wedding? It sounds like the Chassam Sofer, the main thing is the wedding. Can't get married before. But from the Marsham, it's more mashed with the shidduch. You shouldn't even get engaged before your sibling. Okay, that's a little bit of a shiloh.
In the Torah, the engagement happened to Rachel. I'm saying, Lavan knew that Rachel was going to get married.
What is this, Arizona?
Oh, Yaakov was getting
Yeah.
married by Lavan.
Was the wedding.
Was the wedding.
Uh-huh.
Engagement, everyone knew they
Right.
were
Okay, I hear it. Because what you're saying, Yaakov says he's working for Rachel.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear.
No. He didn't find that.
I don't know what their shidduch also was back then. Was there Tnoim or something like that they made up?
How long were the engagements back then?
Very long. The engagements sometimes were long. It sounds like
10
some
years.
safer was maybe like a year or 2 years. Yeah, they had long engagements, especially in the times of the Torah. It was like a year. The women used to like adorn themselves and get themselves ready. They had long engagements. So what about a brother sister? What about that? Anyone talk about that? So the Marsham says no. Brothers, it's only 2 brothers or 2 sisters. A brother or sister does not apply, but brother, yes. And also the Bach and the Shach say it's 2 brothers. But it sounds like brother to sister not. Okay, that seems to be pretty clear. You don't have to. But listen to this tshuva from Moshe. I'm telling you, this is an unbelievable tshuva because it tells you so many other, a lot of musar in here. There's a lot of musar. This is in Even Ezer, in Simon Alf, in the second Chelek. This question was asked from an Av Bezdin of a place, I can't pronounce the place. Maybe it's in Europe. I don't know what place this is. Listen to this case over here. The question was, a younger brother got a shidduch, a good shidduch Hagan, and the father of the Kala wants to go ahead with the wedding fast. The father of the Kala wants to get married quickly. He doesn't want to wait for this younger boy's older brother to get engaged. Again, so this family of 2 boys, and the younger brother just got engaged to a very good girl, and the father of the Kala doesn't want to wait for the older brother to get married first. He doesn't want to wait around. He wants that younger boy to get married, and his reason is, sounds like it's Europe, is that he doesn't want, or maybe Hasidim, he doesn't want the younger boy to be over 20. He wants it to be before 20 years old. Not sure why. And the older brother is very upset about this. The older brother is very, very upset because he should wait for me. He's mitzvah. So the guy asking the shiloh wants to know, is the younger brother allowed to get married first, even though he's being mitzvah his older brother? What's the story? So Ramosha says a few things.
Is there a problem of Achicha Akaba?
Some people hold it's totally in the shiloh. If being mechabed your older brother, first of all, is it deraisa? Second of all, if it applies to all your older brothers, or just your older brother, or oldest brother. Some people say it's all about the father. You're delving. Yeah, you could be right about that. This is a discussion that has to do with being mechabed the older brother. Yeah. But he says like this. He says, Pashat laniyas daiti, that the younger brother could override the older one. Pashat. And he says, a person is mechuyev to get married. How's it shayach that he should not be mekayim his mitzvah puravu because of his older brother? And also, the older brother, it's just an oinus. He didn't find the shidduch yet, right? It's not like there's some other reason. How's it shayach that he should be misbatel from his mitzvah? And there's no zman, right? Who knows when the older brother's going to get married? Could be never, right? Technically. Second of all, kol shekain, you have a girl here, and the father of the college is demanding that they get married fast before he's 20 years old. She's going to be mevatel shidduch chagim. Why should he be mafsed for such a thing? And then he throws a chiddush into the whole sugya, which makes a lot of sense. He says everyone learned the sugya wrong. The shach and the bach, they did not mean to paskin that you have to wait for your older sibling. It means that if you're both engaged and ready to get married, and the weddings you're about to schedule them, okay, who should get married first? Yeah, it's a covet that the older sibling should get married before the younger one. What? To wait around and not get married for a younger sibling because it's not covered? He's not ready to go. You're ready to go. Finished. He says only if they both are engaged and ready to get married, yeah, older one should go first. It makes a lot of sense. And he brings rise to this. I'm not going to get into it.
Girls don't have mitzvah puravu.
Right. He's talking about a boy. So the father of the boy asking if he's allowed to be mitzvah.
You're still doing Mavatal a bit, so because there's going to be a man.
And he says the whole thing is this whole thing at Tzila Fnei Bechira is only when they're both equal. Two girls ready to get married, two boys ready to get married. Therefore, he says Pashat, they're allowed to get married. And he says, Adarabba, the older brother, why is he being jealous? It's an Isra on him. He's being jealous on his younger brother. Okay? And therefore, don't hesitate to get married because of his sar. And not only that, the father can help his son get married. The father doesn't have to be nervous. I'm being mitzvah my son. Maybe let my younger son get married, but I'm not going to help him with the wedding. No, you can help him with the wedding. And he says like this. He says, even if the father's nervous, the son might get sick. Sometimes emotionally sick or physically sick. The older brother can get very upset. There are cases like this. He says, no, it's not a problem. He's an interesting case. Let's say a guy comes over to you, as Ramesha says, a guy comes over to you and says, give me your sweater. If you don't, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to be in a lot of pain. Do you have to give him your sweater because he said that? Shaykhs. Too bad. You could go get sick. Like what? You can't come over to somebody and make a taina that I'm bothered by something when you have no right to do that. And he says, unless there's a chiv stuck or something like that, you have no right to be tevei and din. So he says it makes no sense. And then he continues on. What about the busha? Right? So the busha for all the way comes to the wedding. Everyone says mitzvah shambayu. Right? Everyone hates that. Right? Mitzvah shambayu. My oldest brother always says, there's a pasuk in Kehelis. It says, better to go to a base oval than to go to a base mission. You ever know that pasuk? Table echas the base oval, shiva house, than to go to a wedding. So you always said shot for an older single, because by shiva house they don't say mitzvah shambayu. But by the wedding they do. Anyways, the guy's embarrassed. And it's like habanas panim, right? Which is an isser chomer, right? We know you're not embarrass somebody, so if you get married first, he's going to be embarrassed by the wedding. Look what he says. He says he's being embarrassed on himself. He's creating his own busha. Number one, there's many reasons why people delay getting married. First of all, because he doesn't want to have parnasa issues, right? So you could say, I'm not getting married because I don't want to be busy supporting a wife. I want to sit and learn, right? So you just that could be what you say. Why is that embarrassing? And number two, maybe you're getting a degree. It says for parnasa, the guy's getting a degree, wants to be financially independent, and he's waiting around to get married. Why are you making yourself embarrassed? And he says also maybe you should marry down. A lot of times, why is that older sibling not getting married? Because he wants like a major shidduch. So he says, marry down, which is actually a gemara. Marry someone who's less than you, right? So you're looking for the best shidduch, so your younger brother should wait for you. And this is a very big yesod. I always wanted to know this, and he says this mafurish, and that's why I think this shul is so important. He says, it's mistaber, it's not shaykh to aser on the person, for him to go about his asak of his ways and his dealings, and anything he needs for his gof, with a taina that someone else is going to be embarrassed because he's not matzliach like him. People ask me this a lot. I'm doing something and I feel bad that someone's going to feel embarrassed. I'm like, I don't want to. It could be anything. It could be anything. Obviously, we don't show off things. But your regular life, I don't know, whatever it is. You do not have to feel you're not doing anything wrong if that person feels upset or embarrassed. That's his own issue. He has to deal with it. As long as you're acting within normal framework, even with siblings and things like that. I mean, of course, try to be as good as you can, but you have to be normal. As long as you're being normal, you don't have to be nervous that the guy's going to feel sorry from Rav Moshe. And therefore he says, I don't see any isser, anything wrong with this for the younger person to get married. It's a mitzvah rabbah to get married, puravu, and shalom al Yisrael. So we're coming at halacha l'maisa, just to wrap it up. This is a real thing. This is a real thing that a younger girl should not get married for an older one. Rav Moshe knocks it out of the park. Rav Moshe says it only applies when they're both ready to get married. When they're both ready to get married. But you still see from the end of his shuvah, right? If that's the case, what's the whole point at the end of his shuvah? It's still a good thing, I think you would still agree in concept. Maybe you should just ask the person, did you mind? I don't know. I'm not sure, because he keeps going on and on about it. You could just say the halacha doesn't apply. But I guess because there's a tsar, not because of the halacha, Allah says, there's just emotional pain. So says there isn't. So I guess maybe you could say, I remember my older brother, he told my younger brothers, like, Michael, you, and they asked him, whatever. Could be it's a nice thing to do. But halacha l'maisa, according to Moshe, you don't have to. But other places seem to say there is such a concept. I think overall, Klal Yisrael is noig like this on some level. But I don't think anyone waits too long. And sometimes fakir, it's the biggest chus for the younger sibling. So, I don't know. If it ever comes up, ask your local Orthodox rabbi, but it sounds like you pretty much have the go ahead in most cases. Shkoyach.
By the way, I think that makes the most sense now with Rafa Lay.
Yeah.
Because maybe Lay was supposed to marry Pesach. So maybe they were both